different flavors as well. So basically, HANA is the underlying database for S4 HANA system. And then what is HANA? S4 HANA? S4 HANA is nothing but it's a next generation intelligent ERP. So when we say intelligent in the sense nowadays, the current demand of the technology is the technology should be AI enabled. It should have capabilities of RPA. It should have capabilities of machine learning. So all those capabilities are now inbuilt with S4 HANA, and current with the increase in demand of digitalization, nobody wants to access SAP software by installing locally into their machine. People want to access it, or end user want to access it with the good UI, enriched UI, and again, it should be accessible from your mobile phone, your tablet, your desktop, anywhere. So that is nothing but it is possible to bring all the make the transition of ERP solutions to the mobile phone world, or to the app world, I can say, with the help of S4 HANA front-end Fiori. Okay, so we'll be quickly discussing all those things, but before going into those S4 HANA details, we'll start with SAP HANA. So I hope you might have heard about SAP HANA, or you have fair idea about some idea about SAP HANA. So anybody can tell me what HANA stands for, or what do you when this HANA word come into your mind? So what is your opinion about this? So HANA stands for, anyone? It's a database, Vijay. Great. Okay, so one point, it's a database. Okay, so let's see. We will make this session very interactive. Okay, so because we are learning this new thing, so yeah, nothing is right and wrong. Just what is your opinion? You can just share. So it's a database, right? So we have other database, Oracle. We have MyDB, MongoDB, MySQL, other database there. So how HANA is unique from other database? Hello. And you're saying something? All right. Okay. Okay. So Vijay, as per it's a database, it's a 1 point valid point. Anyone want to add about SAP HANA quickly? Andy, Lasha, Rohini, Vijay, anyone? Okay. All right. So basically, yeah. So it's a high performance analytic appliance. Great. So HANA stands for high performance analytic appliance. Yeah. So basically, this product we'll talk about here. So HANA stands for high performance. So high performance analytic Okay, so basically, it will quickly here just highlight the word how the HANA derived. Okay, so here we have H, and here we have A. Okay, so basically HANA stands for high performance analytic appliance, and this entire database. Okay, so HANA is actually more than a database that we'll discuss. We see the database, whenever the word come, it means we are storing our data there. That is one valid point. But again, with the help of database, if you can deploy your model, if you can develop your application, if you can deploy your end-to-end application on the database itself, or deploy your application, you can develop your application on the database, then it is become more than a database. So HANA is basically a platform, okay, so which offers the database capabilities, building applications, all those capabilities are there. So basically, HANA developed in C++ language. Okay, so this is the language in which HANA is developed, and the latest version of HANA is HANA 2.0. And again, we'll talk about, so HANA is running on which platform? HANA is running on SUSE Linux platform. Let's quickly check this in the system. Okay, So these are in some interview question or from the certification of ABAP on HANA. This will be relevant. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly open the system and then we'll quickly discuss why HANA is unique from other database. Yeah, so that we are going to quickly discuss here. All right, so let's quickly log into the remote desktop. You are going to get your unique user ID and password, using which you can log into the system. And this is always up. You can practice. You have web IDs also available here. You have Hana Studio, your SAP GUI, your S4 HANA systems. All those details are available here. All these softwares are pre-installed for you, whichever required for the training purpose. All right. So in next session, we'll be so today's session is the only session for hands theoretical session, because next session onwards we will be having all the hands-on. So before that, we have to understand about SAP HANA database, so that when we are going to work on a product, so we have fair idea that what kind of development we are going to do, or how HANA is unique from other database, and what is this tool all about, how to configure this tool, how to add your HANA database, how to add your ABAP system in this tool. So like I said yesterday in the session, the new area of ABAP and HANA development is not going to support on your SAP logon pad. So SAP logon pad is now no longer supporting for your new area of ABAP. So that is the reason we are going to use this new tool called Hana Studio, which is nothing but a product from Eclipse. All right. So in the next session, when we'll configure this Eclipse, or we'll quickly add a system, I'll be discussing in detail about the different menu options, different shortcuts of this particular tool. So as of now, we are just talking about the introduction to SAP HANA. So don't worry about how I'm navigating it here, because this tool I will explain again in detail. So I'm just going to go for SAP HANA development. And if I want just a quick idea, if I want to work on ABAP, I have to select this, and it will switch to the ABAP perspective. Or if I want to work on HANA development side, I have to select HANA. So from the same software, you can work on both the database side as well as application layer side. So I'm just going to select SAP HANA development, and don't worry about this perspective, how it came, how SAP HANA menu is showing, everything we'll be talking about. So here I have added already two database system. This will delete and add fresh again in our next session where we'll start it. Okay, just to give you idea, from here I can add our HANA database system. So what are the details required? This we'll discuss in coming session next tomorrow. Tomorrow onwards we have hands-on. Okay. So if you double click on any database which is added here, you will get some information about the database which you are going to use. So as of now, we are this is something HANA 2.0. If you see the version, HANA 2.0 and SP04 is the service pack which is currently installed in this training system. And if I'll go to check the Linux kernel version, so HANA is running on SUSE Linux platform. And these are some memory details basically. So basically HANA is what? HANA is in-memory computing database. So what is this in-memory computing? That we'll discuss. This is about your disk size, how much of disk here we have. It's 570 GB data and all. And if I'll come to the landscape quickly, this is required for architecture. In ABAP on HANA or as certification, we have questions from architecture, like not all servers and you need to know, but there are some few important which we should know, like for example, index server, name server, preprocessor server. This will quickly discuss 2 or 3 lines about each. Okay. So now coming to the HANA, why HANA is unique. Okay. So like we have received from in the chat box, it's a database. So let me add some point to that. It's a so it's an in-memory computing database basically. So HANA is nothing but it's a in-memory computing database. So see, we are talking about uniqueness. This is something which is unique to SAP HANA, which makes HANA unique from other database. So in-memory computing database means what? Everything is on RAM. Everything is on RAM. Okay. When I say everything in on RAM means your data locally resides into your main memory, means data locality. So when data locally resides into the main memory, so definitely the access would be fast. And whenever we are talking about HANA, so HANA is known for its faster parallel processing or computing the data into the real time or on fly. So this is one of the added advantage which makes HANA a very fast or on-fly database. Is nothing but the data is stored locally into the RAM. In other database, we have concept of secondary memory. Whenever you are going to trigger any SQL query, so it will fetch the data from the secondary storage and bring onto the RAM, and then data gets processed. But in HANA, we are going to store everything on RAM. But again, the question will come, like as per the Moore's law, the size of data going to become twice every year. Then how this size of maintenance, the size of physical devices and maintaining this memory cost, from the cost point of view, it will be huge. Then how it's possible to bring everything is on RAM? The question, see, HANA is a completely redesigned database. Okay, so it's designed in such a way that it stores, it compress the data whenever you are going to migrate your database to HANA database. So it has a compression techniques are there, and how it is possible, that we'll quickly discuss. So yeah, so now so there is a continuous innovation in the area of software and hardware. So if you say let's say 20 years back, or not 20 years back, I can say um, let's say 10 or 12 years back, when we had this Nokia release Symbian series phone, so it was coming of 128 MB of RAM. After that, technology advancement happened, and at that time we have a big this memory card was there. Then SD memory card came, and after that we had this micro, mini, all those kind of memory card came, and the size of also the memory reduced. So we used to have earlier floppy disk, then compact disk, then hard drive, and now you can get 2 TB of data hard drive easily around 5,000 rupees INR. So how it is possible, and the size of this chip also reduced. So SAP has a partnership with Intel to have the reduced chip size, so that it will also take less physical storage space. Okay, so so these are something which possible to thought SAP to let's bring everything onto the main memory. So now we have a very important point about SAP HANA database is your by default HANA supports column storage. Okay. If you're working on any S4 HANA system which is running on HANA database, or ECC system which is running on HANA database, so the underlying table will store by default storage type as column storage. So HANA also supports row storage, but by default storage type is your column. So let's quickly see if I'll go to the system here. So I'll log into the system, and if I'll just quickly open SAP logon pad and check any of the S4 HANA system, open any table and see what is the storage type for that table. So I'm just going to open SAP GUI, and this is our S4 HANA 2020, the latest S4 HANA release from SAP, and this is your on-premise system which is running on HANA as a database. So if I'll just quickly log in here. And if you go to the system and the status, so we can see if I'll go to the first product, which product we are on. So we are running on S4 HANA on-premise 2020 system. Okay, this is S4 HANA system which is running on HANA as a database. If you go see the database information here, it is SDB, which stands for HANA database, and this is the release 2.0. Okay, so we are already, it means this whatever the table we are going to access. Let's talk about Mara table. Okay, or any table of your choice, a standard table. So if I'll open this table here and go to the technical setting of this table, so DB specific property and the storage type is your column. Open any table of your choice. So you will be finding out if you're working on the HANA as a database. So the underlying table, let's say customer master. So underlying table is your of storage type is of your column storage. So now, what is the advantage of having column storage? Why we are going to get, why we need to have a column storage and all? So generally, when we see any table as from, so it looks like a row or column storage kind of thing. So let's say this is a normal table where I have a column called ID, we have a name, and here we have a salary. Okay. So here we have a ID here. So we have a name here. Let's say, and let's say salary is 3,000. So we have salary code. Let's say 3,000. Here we have 102. Here we have mark, and here let's salary is 4,000. Here 103. If I'm going fast, you please stop me and tell me that to go slow. Yeah. So let's say we have another employee that has employee ID is 103, and let's say the name is Harry, and salary is, let's say, again 2,500. Okay. So this is generally how the table looks like. So now from the current scenario, we got to know that we have two different storage type. One is your column storage and another one is your row storage. Okay. So this is we are going to see how this data get mapped to the memory. Okay. So okay. So here now what we have is we have two different memory type here. Let me quickly find out some other template here. Okay, no worries. We'll just take whatever we had earlier. Okay. So now we have two different memory type here. One is your row storage and another one is your column storage. So let's see how the data is getting stored. So when the actual mapping to memory will happen, so we have now two type of storage. One is your row storage and another one is your column storage. Okay. Now, when we are going to map this data, so we are going to talk about here mapping to the memory. So whenever we are going to map this data to the memory, then how it going to look like, or how it looks like. So let's see. We are talking here about mapping to memory. So if somebody is from computer science background, so you may have idea about when the data gets stored into the database, it stores in form of array. So what is array? Array is nothing but it's a continuous allocation of a memory in terms of data, in terms of storage. So here, if it is a row storage, so from the above table, when it gets mapped to the memory, it will store data like into the row fashion. So we have John first row, then we have 3,000, then we have 102, then we have Mark, and then we have 4,000, and then we have 103, then we have Harry, then we have salary, and so on. But if the same data is going to stored into the database which supports column storage, then how the data will store? It will store all the column together, and all the name field together. We have 3,000, we have 4,000, and we have 2,500. Okay. So here, basically, if you notice, so what is happening? Your similar type of data is grouped together. Yeah, your similar type of data is now grouped together here. So this is your all name, and this is your all all employee ID, and then you have all the names. Everything is now stored together here as a all the name all the columns. This is stores the data into the column fashion. All right. So now if I'll just quickly see the advantage of having this column storage. Let's say you are going to send a select query where you want to do the aggregation. Okay, means sum of salary of all your employee. So in that case, then in that case, if you want to know the aggregate of salary, then how the query will happen in if it is a row storage. So when the compiler will try to find the data which is stored into this particular array, so it will go to the array first location and check whether this is salary field or not. No, this is not the salary field. Then it will scan the next location, see, because data stores in form of array in the database, so it's a continuous memory allocation. So it will go to the second location and check whether it's a salary field or not. No. Then it will go to the third location, that is your salary field. So it will store that data into the buffer memory. Then it will bring, it will go for next record, then next record, then again the sixth record. It is a, so basically it has to scan each and every record. So, but in real time, you have a table having 100 field, 200 field, 300 fields are there. So basically it has to scan each and every cell and try to find it out the requested data. So this is how this aggregate. Now once the data is available in the buffer memory, then the aggregation will take place into the main memory. So this data will be fetching to the main memory and then their aggregation will happen. But this is not the case of database which supports column storage, that is HANA. So in HANA, whenever you're going to do aggregation, so the similar fields are stored together. So control will go to the position where this column is stored from. So it is stored from this particular location, and next to each other, all my salary fields are here. So here, the aggregation will be very, very fast compared to the row storage. So the first advantage of having this column storage is you're going to achieve high aggregation. We'll see quickly another advantage here, another advantage of having column storage. So let's say you want to update the salary field of employee 102 from 4,000 to 5,000. So how this updation will take place here in case of row storage? So what it will do, it will copy the entire column into a buffer here. So let's say this particular 102 we want to copy it. So it will just copy the entire row. Even though if you have to update one value, generally in the database side, it copies the entire row into the buffer, and in buffer it will change 4,000 to 5,000, and then the moment the commit will trigger, then it will change the value in the database. So this is how the entire row will get copied here. But in column storage, since every so here what will happen is only that particular record will get copied into the buffer memory. So here, instead of copying entire record, it will just copy this 5,000 here, and then sorry, it will copy the 4,000, and then it will do the update here, and the moment the commit will trigger, it will reflect the changes to the back to the database. So this is another advantage of having column storage. Now we discussed that everything is on RAM. How it is possible? Let's say my customer is running off having data of, let's say, 200 GB. Now I'm going to migrate to HANA, and in HANA the cost of HANA total depends on the RAM size you're going to buy from SAP. So then if the data size is 200 GB, then we are going to pay with the heavy amount. But again, how it is possible to bring those data into the less space? Or so for that, we are quickly going to see about the insertion technique of your database, how the data gets inserted into the HANA database. So now I'm going to quickly talk about here. Let's say this is a table which is empty here as first time, and now we are talking about the insertion part. So we have, let's say, sales order number, let's say SO number, we have order type, and let's say every order type has associated material and has some net amount. Okay, so when the table is empty and it's getting updated, this table is getting updated. So this is a HANA, so we're talking about the scenario of HANA where table is of column storage. So here sales order number is 101, order type is AB, and let's say material is mat1, and amount is 2000. So in this case, there's no so the data get inserted first time in the table level. Now we are going to create another record here. So it may be possible you can create a sales order of same order type, means AB. Okay. So since HANA is a column oriented database, column storage database, so it will not allow duplicate entries of a it will not allow duplicate entries of physical creation of an entry or duplicate entries in the column level. So AB is physically created already. So what it will do, instead of physically creating it, it will just assign the index. This is has index 2. So it will assign the index to the location where AB is physically created. Let's say the material type is mat2. So mat2 is unique. It will create entry for mat2. And here, let's say amount is, let's say 2900 something. And here sales order is your primary key. Okay. So now when you are going to insert a third record, so again order type is, let's say this time it is OP. OP is a unique entry, so it will physically create OP, and this time we are going to create order with the same material called mat1. So it will check whether mat1 is physically created or not. Yes, in this column. So in column it will not allow duplicate record. So already physically mat1 is created, so it will assign the index to the location where mat1 is physically created. Now we have 104, and again order type is AB. So it will not physically create AB, it will just assign the index to the location where AB is physically created, and this time material is mat2. Mat2 is already physically created, so it will just create mat2, the index to the location where mat2 is physically created, and let's say amount is 3300. Similarly 104, and this type order type is OP, so OP is already physically created, so it will just assign index to the location where your OP is physically created, and this time material is mat2, so again it will just assign the index to the location where mat2 is physically created, and some amount, and so on. So 106 again, this time order type is let's say PQ. PQ is a unique entry, and here mat3 it is a unique entry, and this is the amount, let's say again. So again 107, and for this we have order type is again let's say AB. So AB is physically created, so it will just assign index to the location where your AB is physically created, and material is mat1, and so it will just assign the index to the location where your mat1 is physically created. So here your entries are not getting physically created, so it's going to save a space for us. So here it has been seen that when you are going to work with SAP HANA, and when you are going to migrate, you are going to achieve another advantages of having this is high aggregation, sorry, high comparison. Means, so we have now actually two versions of HANA we had. So HANA released with version HANA 1.0. Okay, so HANA 1.0, it has a capability to extend to compress your data 5 times to 20 times. But again, we are in the era of continuous innovation of software and hardware. So in the new version, the another release of SAP HANA, which is on current release, where it has capabilities to compress the data 5 times to 50 times. So what does this mean? Let's say in on the other DB side. Okay, so if you are on the other DB, let's say any non-HANA DB, I can say non-HANA DB, if your database size is of let's say 200 GB, so how much this data will get compressed here? So depending on this compression, so it depends on total your quality of data. So for example, let's say consider about a employee table where you have 1 lakh employees are there in your database table for employee. So for employee, male and female, let's say gender is the common entry. So what will happen? Male, female will get repeated for all 10 lakh employees. We have duplicate entries for male and female in the column of gender in other database. But if it is in HANA, so it will not physically allow you to create male, female duplicate record in that particular column. So we will have only one unique entry for male and one unique entry for female, and for other entries of that database table, we'll have the indexes will be assigned. So in that case, it will not get any, it will not occupy any memory. So your data will get compressed. So let's say again for that maybe multiple employee belongs to same state, or multiple employees belongs to a certain state or certain city. So in that case, your all the 10 for all 10 lakh employee or 1 lakh employee, your this state will not get repeated, or so it will just do the cluster like Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, all those kind of we have division will be there. So depends on the state, it will be not allowed to have duplicate records. So now it has been seen, if you're on the HANA, if you're already migrating to HANA, then you can, if it is HANA 1.0, so same data it can compress. So we are talking about the new HANA 2.0 here. So if you're going to migrate to SAP HANA, so the same data of 200 GB on other database, it will compress minimum 5 times. Minimum 5 times means it will come around 40 GB, and maximum it can compress 50 times, depends on your data quality. So it will become 4 GB. So your entire data of 200 GB, once you migrate to SAP HANA, it will accommodate between 4 GB to 40 GB. So this is again very much advantages of having HANA as a database, means in terms of your compression, in terms of your pushing the data into the database, which supports column storage, and which is nothing but running on in-memory computing, means where your data stores directly onto the main memory. So now again quickly, there's another advantage. Let's say you want to update this order is 104 is of order type AB. Now you decided that I want to update it to order type OP. Okay, so what will happen in this case? Index will get updated. So the index 4 will be deleted for here, and index 4 is getting assigned here. So this is nothing but what will happen is your indexes will be get reassigned in case of updation. So here again it will be fast compared to physically movement of your data from one updating your data from one type to another type. So this is again one of the advantages having your database which supports your column storage. Any doubt before going to we have just to more property about uniqueness of SAP HANA? Any doubt or any clarification you want here? You can unmute or you can ping me in the chat box. Okay, in case your mic is not working, you can also ping in the chat box. All right, so in SAP HANA, we have something called Interoperator Parallelism concept. So in SAP HANA, your operators are also running in parallel. So then what is this interoperator parallelism? So this is again one of the unique property of SAP HANA, which is not available with other databases here. So we have something called interoperator parallelism. See, because from next session onwards, we have everything is on the hands-on side, so we don't have any theory anymore. So yeah, so it is important to understand about the introduction to SAP HANA. So as per the certification, also yesterday we have seen we have a topic like SAP HANA basics and technical concepts. So this is the area where we are heading towards. Okay, so interoperator parallelism. I will be sharing a brief document of 9 to 10 pages where all these things are documented. You can in a free time you can just go through it to know about the HANA basics, or you can refer this slide for quick reference. All right, I will be sharing this slide with everyone and a document of 8 to 9 pages where but I will tell you what you need to read from there. Not all 9 pages, 2 or 3 pages are enough to understand. Yeah, so we have something called interoperator parallelism. So basically, let's say you have a query. Okay, you have a query called Q1, and in this query, you are going to do multiple mathematical operations. Let's say addition, then subtraction, then division, then multiplication. So when so now you have two cases. One is your non-HANA DB, and another one is your HANA DB. Okay. So when you are going to run this query, so basically nowadays we are in the era where we are using the multi-core processing unit or multi-core CPU. So for example, I'm using this GoToMeeting software to interact with everyone. Parallelly, I'm using this PowerPoint. Parallelly, I can go and I can open the Google Chrome. So every software are running in parallel so that I can access this in real time. All together I can access it. So similarly, in the database side, we have multi-core processors are there. It's not like you are the only person who is going to trigger your query. So your query should be uniquely processed by the database. So every query will be assigned to a unique processor, and it will be giving you output. So let's say 10 queries from the 10 different users are getting triggered to the database. So each query will be uniquely processed by the database, and it will return the output to the respective user. So basically we have again processing units, which is we are calling it as core 1, core 2, core 3, core 4, and let's say multi core n. Okay. So similarly, this is also in the case with HANA. So we have multi-core CPU, C1, C2, C3, C4, and Cn number. Yeah. So now when this query will assign to this particular non-HANA DB Q1, how it will happen? It will assign this one. This is one query, so it will just assign to the query Q1. So what will happen here? So when this query Q1 will get executed, so first it will do addition. The moment it will do the addition, other operator has to wait, even though it's a very fraction of second, but yes, once the addition will complete, it will go for a subtraction. Till that time, division and multiplication has to wait. Once this is complete, then it will do addition, this division and multiplication. But when you are going to assign this query to the SAP HANA DB, then how it is going to take this query? So what it will do, it will first, so what it will do, it will operators will run in parallel, means the unique query, so it will make a quickly sub query of this. So here in Q1, so A plus B can run independently. There's no dependency on this. So we have something called dependency analyzer running on SAP HANA, which determines what are the independent branches can be run together. So all these can be run independently here. So it will assign to all these operators into one different cores here. And since all core are running in parallel, so there's no operator has to wait for running this particular query into the database. So generally, when you are going to send a multiple select query or nested select query, so the inner sub query will execute, then you have to, the main query will execute. So on the output of your inner query, your main select query depends. So in that case, that is not an independent one. So in that case, it will go to one core. But here, let's say you have multiple SQL statements are there, and in that there's no dependency, then all those other SQL of the same particular query can be run into a different course here. So similarly, but the unique point about SAP HANA is operators. Okay, this addition, division, multiplication, these operators can also run in parallel, depend on their dependency with the other value. So this is how the HANA is also made unique from the other database, that is called your interoperator parallelism. All right. So one of the last unique point about SAP HANA, the important point about SAP HANA is it is a concept of insert only. Okay. See, HANA is all about analytics. Okay. So, and for analytics, we need historical data. So if you delete the, let's say there's an employee who is getting transferred to different cities in past 5 years. Now, after 5-6 years, I want to see a trend that how the employees got transferred, what was the trend of transfer of an employee. Or let's say my product sold in last 5 years, what is the trend? Based on that, I can take the future decision that, okay, let's make this product production to this much of capacity. So for that, we need historical data. So let's say if I'm going to my current city, let's say I'm in some, let's say probably I'm in Hyderabad. Okay. So let's say I'm in Hyderabad. Hyderabad is my current city. 2 years back, I was in Chennai. So Chennai was my current city. Before that, I was in Bangalore. So Bangalore was my current city at that time. So, but the recent city I'm staying in, Hyderabad. So whenever my bank account details will be, so I will be updating my bank account details. So when I update my bank account details, so if I'll delete my old data, then how I am going to retrieve all those data. So data is very important nowadays. So whenever you are going to update any record in a table, it will get updated with the timestamp. Okay. And whenever you are going to write a select query, you are going to get a data with the recent timestamp. Means always the recently updated record will be available to you. but older records will having older timestamp will not be fetched. So there are some different techniques are there where we can go and we can retrieve the deleted records or the older records with the older timestamp, but that is applicable for the customer who are running on the analytics or ML part. Okay, but yes, in DB we have so what we are doing, we are uploading those data, unloading those data from the from the main memory, which is not required, and if it is required for analytical data, then yes, we are bringing all those deleted record to the another virtual table, and from there we can fetch the data and do the analytics and all. But in HANA we are not deleting the records actually, so every records get stored with the timestamp, and while you are fetching the data, you will always get the latest timestamp. And memory is not a problem for us because we have in HANA we have high compression we can achieve. So but data is important. Business gain out of business gain making insight from those data is very important. So this is the one of the unique property of HANA, insert only. Yeah, so this is all about the introduction to SAP HANA, like how HANA is unique from other database and all. So let me know if you have any question, any queries before going to the next topic, that is your architecture. So once we understand the architecture, then we are good to go for system access. And by the next session, I'm expecting that everyone, you will get your unique user ID and password, so that parallelly we can practice in the system. Yeah. So before going into the architecture, let me know any question, any queries. So this is a 9-page document which I'm going to share with you. Whatever I have discussed here quickly, it will have all those things. Yeah, you can go in your free time. So we can, yeah. So basically, I'll be talking about this part, and a lot of engines and servers are running. This is your architecture to SAP HANA. It again comes under the certification topic, SAP HANA basics and technical details. Okay. So if I'll go to the SAP HANA database here, which I have shown in the system. So let me go to the HANA database here. And under the landscape, we can see there are multiple services are running. One of the services are like index server. Other, see, like compile server is there, daemon server is there, DP server is there, but we have to go with the important one. So the main component, main heart of SAP HANA is your index server. Index server is the place where your actual query gets executed. You are writing a query, create table. So that create table query, it will be getting executed under this index server. We'll see in some time. And then we have something called name server, preprocessor server, access engine. So these are nothing but this is the component: index server, preprocessor, name server, access engine, statistics server. Okay. So we'll start with quickly two line about each, and then we are good to go. All right. So here, what we have is, if I'll go quickly down here. So basically we have index server. We'll talk one by one for each server here. So index server is the main component. This is architecture for your index server. Okay. So whenever, so let's say there are 10 different query you're going to send from your application layer, from your ABAP layer. So every query is unique. So for every query, database or index server will create a unique session. So session manager will create a unique session ID, and then transaction manager will coordinate those sessions. And once unique session ID is assigned, then it will go to the MDX processor or SQL processor. So there are two types of processor we have, SQL and MDX. SQL processor is maybe familiar with you, where you can run our SQL query or SQL script. And then there's some also called MDX processor. So this is for your multiple dimension data, MDX processor. So in SAP HANA, there's something called analytical view, calculation view, which has a multiple dimensional data. So what is multiple dimensional data? This I'm going to show while doing the hands-on for your views in SAP HANA, in HANA modeling. So case by case we'll discuss. So let's say you are executing analytical view in SAP HANA, you developed a calculation view in SAP HANA. So those view will be multiple dimensional. What is multiple dimensional? That I will be showing in the hands-on. So if those views are running, then this processor is responsible. If it is a normal SQL query, then this view is responsible. So once the query is identified, whether it's a SQL query or it's MDX related query, then it will go to the data engine, third layer. Data engine is the actual place where your actual data query, database query gets executed. So let's say you have sent a statement to create SQL, means create table name. So that is nothing but we are going to create a table. So once the table execution will complete, then it will get created as a repository object. Okay, or let's say you are updating some record, deleting some record, then those records will be gets executed into the repository. HANA also supports third-party language R. There is R integration, but R is not in our scope. Our scope is SQL script and SQL language and this calculation engine. So SQL script we are going to learn, okay, as a part of your ABAP managed database procedure as well as HANA procedures. So during this update or running this SQL, any kind of disaster is happening or any kind of system failure happening. So we have disaster recovery mechanism or data recovery mechanism in case of failure log. So all those logs will be getting stored into the persistence layer. So let's say the next time when the database will be available, then it will check this persistence layer, any failed log or not. If yes, then if any kind of re-triggering mechanism is configured, then it will trigger those SQL. So this is all about your index server, which is the main component of SAP HANA database. Yeah. So you can just quickly go through this theory in case if you can go through one time. Then we have next server is called preprocessor server. So these are not that much important, yes, but from the certification point of view, just will see one line for each. So preprocessor server, this is generally we are going to use for doing the text analysis. Okay, so whenever you have to extract some text or from the when you have to extract the data from a given text, then we are using this preprocessor server. So for example, let's say in the LinkedIn and all, you are Twitter, you are tweeting something, and based on your Twitter, tweet your text. We are generally the analytics people are extracting the data and they're finding the emotions. Let's say they're saying 80% of people supporting team A, team B for a match. So this was implemented by SAP in year 2013 as a part of testing in the IPL match in Bangalore. So they connected with the social media account, and then they used to do the text analysis using the different text functions and such functions and getting the emotion of the text, and then they are giving the prediction, okay, this much of people are supporting team A, team B based on the reading the tweets from the Twitter account. Then we have another server called name server. Okay, so basically what happens, we are in the distributed system landscape. Means what, the servers are distributed in the cloud side. We have different data centers are there. One is running in Europe, one is running in US, one in China. So you are a global company and where you have business in all these countries. So your data is basically distributed into multiple systems across multiple servers. So name server is responsible that which data exists on which part of the server. All those information this name server will have. Okay, then we have something called a statistics server. So the statistics server is a server which is responsible to know about the how the health of system is, whether new query will come, so whether the system is going to accept it or tell low memory or no free resources, memory low. So all those kind of health performance information are available in the statistics server. And then last but not least, very important, access server. So access server is something whenever you have to communicate with your web or HTTPS, you have to transmit your data to the web server or receive the data from the web directly to the HANA database, then this component should be installed. So you might have heard about OData services, right? So OData is something from you can send your data to the web, Fiori app or UI5 app or to the any other web server, or you can read the data from there. So if this component is not installed, you cannot work with the web services. So in HANA, we are not telling it as OData services, we are telling it as access OData. Okay, if you have prior experience to SAP HANA side, you might have idea about access OData in SAP HANA. So we are not in ABAP layer, we are calling it as OData, but in HANA side we are calling it as access OData, because this component, access component, is a component which helps us data to transmit to the data to the web servers. Okay, so these are the components are important to know, and these components all are communicating with each other while when the database is running or whenever any development we are going to do. So yeah, so this is something all about your introduction to SAP HANA and some technical details. I'm going to share this document to your Google Drive so that you can access it. Okay. So that's all from the theory point of view. Now coming to the system. Okay, so we, while working with the system, what we need is, you are going to get a server access. Okay, so let me quickly write down what kind of software, what software we are going to use here. So we need a software called SAP Hana Studio. Okay, and this is a product from Eclipse. Okay, this is the SAP HANA Studio is nothing but it's a product from Eclipse, and Eclipse is an open source software. So what is CLIPS? Yeah. So what SAP has done, SAP has installed their plugins. I mean, say plugins means ABAP environment. Your see, UI5 development we are not doing in HANA Studio. The reason is it does not have the pre-packaged library which requires for us. Okay, so we are using a tool called WebID and a recently launched tool from SAP is Business Application Studio. So both having same I mean to say working wise means feature wise they are same, but Business Application Studio has lot many features. It is just newly launched by SAP, and in most of the project we have WebID and all, but that is for Fiori development. Okay, so SAP HANA Studio is a product from Eclipse, and what SAP has done, they have installed their environment for ABAP, HANA, BW, and then they're pre-packaging and selling it as a part of your licensing of SAP HANA as HANA Studio. So if you don't have HANA Studio, let's say, then how you, if you want to work on ABAP, how you can work? So for that, you can download, you can go to tools.hana.ondemand.com and you can download the Eclipse. Okay, so this is, it will come as a part of your licensing. Okay, but many times what happens, HANA Studio gets corrupted in the project and all, and we don't want to wait for the basis team to get approval to install to reinstall the HANA Studio and all. So what we can do, we can alternately, we can follow the alternate for HANA Studio is, but this is optional already. This is HANA Studio is working in our training system. I'm just saying, if you have to locally install and see how you can convert Eclipse to HANA Studio. So for that, what you can do, you can follow tools.hana.ondemand.com. Okay, so here what we have is, we have this tools.hana.ondemand.com, and just we have to follow the instruction here. Okay, so what this is all about. So let's say from here you can download any tools free of cost. Okay, let's say you want to work on HANA side. Okay, so what you need to do is, you need to go and follow the steps here, procedure. You need to install the latest version of Eclipse. So 2103 is the latest version, but if you if you open after 1 month, 2 months, here you will have updated version. So this is nothing but year and month. Okay, so as of now the latest version is 03. So this site will always get updated with the latest version of Eclipse. So if you click on this, and if I'll go to the HANA Studio and click on help, this is my HANA Studio, and if I'll click help here, so I can see this is a product from Eclipse. Okay, it is under the license of Eclipse, and if I'll click on install product details, this is what SAP has installed. Okay, so if we have different icons are there, this icon is for Eclipse and all. Okay, and if I'll just see these icons, these are the some different perspective of Eclipse. So if I'll click on installation details, so SAP has installed the SAP plugins. You can see these are some installed software. Because it's Eclipse, it will not support anything related to SAP. But what SAP has done as a part of HANA Studio, they already installed these plugins for you. No need to install. You can directly use HANA Studio to work with ABAP, to work with BW, to work with your BPC part. You can work with your SAP HANA Studio, HANA development. All those things you can directly work on. But this is, to download HANA Studio directly, you need access to SAP Marketplace. It is coming as a part of default licensing for SAP HANA. So when you onboard it to the project, HANA Studio will be available for you. But many times I have faced issue, many developers have faced issue that sometime due to some system refresh, sometime restart problem and all, HANA Studio gets corrupted. So in that case, we don't want to stop our development. So alternative is, we can have this, we are following this. Okay, so we have downloaded also this Eclipse also. If so if I go to the Eclipse, so here multiple versions of Eclipse are there. and these are the some older releases of this Eclipse. This is the latest one. Older one was 2020 12. Before that 912. So we can see every 3 months they are releasing the new versions here. Okay, older versions was Kepler, Neon, Mars, Luna, Oxygen. Those were the older versions. I have worked started from the Neon and Neon, Luna, Oxygen, Kepler because I was here in this area for a long time. But yes, we never faced issue with the Eclipse installation as well. So here you need to download Eclipse for Java developer. Okay, so you have to just click on Windows, and then you can right away you can also do in your system, but you cannot add your HANA database. Why? Because HANA database requires VPN, and VPN you cannot configure in your local machine. It should be in your company machine, or it should be in the remote desktop. So we have remote desktop, but just for your practice, you can just quickly download this. And once you download this, what you need to do, you need to go to help and click on install new software. So Eclipse and HANA Studio both are same thing. So you can see here, I have downloaded this for me. Under the downloads, I have Eclipse is also there. Okay, I can launch the Eclipse, or even if you have HANA Studio, you can go to the help and install new software. You will get the same menu option in the Eclipse also. Okay, the Eclipse is getting opened for me. I can show. So, but you no need to do this already. This is just for your information in case if you want to download it. Okay, but this is already available in your remote desktop. So the moment the Eclipse will get a start, so it will not have anything related to SAP. So you need to install the plugins, which is already done in HANA Studio. So this is my Eclipse. If I'll just go here, and I can see install new software. Okay, so here you have to give the URL. So what URL? URL is already given in this particular site. https tools.hana.ondemand.com/version name. So I can just type tools dot, already I did in past, so that's it's taking from the log. So you can see I just, the moment I give this URL and hit enter, so by default when you install the Eclipse, you will not see anything related to ABAP, anything related to BW, anything related to Cloud Business Application Studio, and anything related to your SAP HANA tool. So at least what we need for our development is, we need one is cloud application, one we need HANA tools to work on the HANA development, and for work on the ABAP side, you need to have this ABAP tool. So the moment you click next, install this software, so then what you will get, what you are going to get is, you are going to get, once you install all those things, then you are once you install all the software, then you have to open the different environment. You want to work on ABAP or you want to work on HANA, so you have to open on this. Let me close everything. Yeah, so you will get something called here right hand side, open perspective. Okay, shortcut. So open perspective is nothing but the environment where I want to work. So as of now, in the left hand side, you see there's something called HDB is written, means I have added my HANA database, but I want to access ABAP. So the moment I click on ABAP, so it will open the ABAP environment. Okay, so if you notice here, left hand side, I have something added systems are HDB, but the moment I click on ABAP, it is showing some different system. And here if I click on open, it asking me to add ABAP project. Now I want to work on HANA side, so again I will click open perspective. So perspective is nothing but it will give you an environment where you want to work. So if you want to work on HANA development, you can click on HANA and click on open. So it is going to optimize the developer efficiency, this tool. Okay, it has a lot of many thing advantage in ABAP also. When we write the ABAP code, we'll see it is going to give us very good suggestions and all auto code completion feature. These are in Eclipse, but this is not in your SAP logon pad. So I can see this is something related to database. I can come to these windows. I can come to perspective and I can click on open perspective and I can click on other. The same pop-up will come, which was added as the right hand side here, a square box as shortcut. Okay, so we are going to start with your let me delete these things. Okay, so whenever you will log in for first time and now you want to add, we are going to start our course as a part of your HANA development. Okay, so if I'll just click on this particular icon, open perspective, and if I click on SAP HANA development, okay, so I need to have This is the place where I can, so right hand side you can see there is a square shape bracket is highlighted here. This is a shortcut for your, this is your shortcut. If I want to work on ABAP, I can click on this. Okay, this is again another shortcut here. It will redirect me to the ABAP environment. And if I just click it here, it is HANA development. I can click it from here also. It will take me to the HANA. So we have two things. One is system tab, one is repository tab. So system tab is required to add HANA database. So if let's say if you delete this, you cannot add now HANA database. So just a second. Sorry. All right. Yeah. So let's say you deleted by mistake that system tab. So system tab is important to add your HANA database. I will go to Windows. I will go to this show view, and I will go to the others. Okay. And here I have to type system. And system tab is available under SAP HANA under that system. So system tab is important to add your database system, because here you can see one option is coming, add system. But if I'll go to the other tab, let's say repository, add system options are not coming. So system tab is a place where you can go and add your HANA database system. You can click add here, and it requires very minimal details. So these details will be shared in your project by your basis team, or in our training system you will be getting these details in your email. But this is a fixed host name. So you have something called in your server details text file will be there. Okay, so you can add different database. Okay, we have 3 database available in our training system, 3 different HANA base database. So let's say I want to, if I'll go here a little bit, I can see some database details are there. For example, HANA database 1610 means as for HANA system we have different as for HANA systems are here. So this is connected to another HANA database, this is connected to another HANA database, this is connected to another HANA database. So we can add n number of HANA databases here. So let's add 1909 and 2020, the only 2. Okay, like that you can add more also. So if I'll go a little bit here, I can see I need a host name here. Okay, and instance number. These are the 2 things, and user ID and password requires to add your HANA database. So from here you can also get it here. For example, I opened this S4 HANA 2020 system. I can go to my system here. I can go to the status, and from here I can see HDB, and this is my host name. Okay, I can get my host name from here also, and instance is your 10. You can see the instance is your 10 10. This is your instance. Okay, so I can go and edit here also. So what I can do is I can just go paste the name, and instance number was 10, or you can get it in your email from your basis team, or so you have to just add those details and give meaningful description. This is the HANA database which is connected to our 2020 system, so that because we might have one for development, one for production, one for quality. Accordingly, when you adding it, just give description HDB for dev, HDB for production, like that, so that you will have fair idea. So here I can give my username, password, and I want to store so that it should not ask every time. Click on next. If everything is fine, it will add. Okay, so it says that this information is wrong. I will go one step back and check, or I need to check with basis team also, maybe, because 2020 instance I have to still get it here. Okay, so it's okay. It has some it says that system could not be reached. I need to take the correct data. I will take it, but not an issue. Let's add 1909, because 1909 details are already there. I will just check and update this server details. So what is the host name? Copy the host name and instance number. Okay, so I can just simply go add 00, and description is HDB. This is your 1909. Why 1909? Why 2020? All those naming convention we'll discuss. Yeah. So we have etech, password is same, and click on finish. Okay, if everything is fine, it will add the system. Sure. What is happening? Let me just give, well, generally it happens when I give a wrong password. Okay, now I given the correct password, that is welcome123. Now I can see this database gets added. Okay, I can double click and I can get that database information. Similarly, I can add another database. Let's say I want to add another database, so I will quickly refer here and see any older database I can add. So we have 1610 data. So for that, this is the host name. Every system will have unique host name. So what you have to just copy the host name and add it. This is HDB, which is connected to 1610, and I can click on next. E-tech. Welcome 123. Store this. Click on next. Click on finish. All right. So here you can see I have my database added, and every database has same thing like catalog, provisioning, content, security. Same menu options will be there. Okay. Like that, we can add another database. So I will be updating this for 2020 also. We'll add it here. So yeah, we can take any system for our practice. So I will recommend either you take 1909 or you can also add 2020. That is a new one. Yeah. So you can add any other database here. So again, within that database, we have something called catalog. This will just start doing the hands-on. There's something called a schema. Within a schema, we have something called a table. Within the table, this is the place where we are storing it. Okay. So let me show you one thing just for your idea. So now I want to know, this is my 2020 system, and this is my table called KNA1. Okay. So as per theory, we know that whenever we activate the table in ABAP, so during the activation, table gets created in the database. So now in database, where it will create. So this is my HANA database where it will create. So this concept will do the hands-on in our system. But before going to hands-on, let me quickly talk about it here. So if I'll go to the system and the status, see, there's something called a schema. A schema is nothing but overall design of a database or sub database within a database. I mean to say here within the catalog we have something called a schema. Don't worry, I'll be talking about all those details here in our hands-on session. This is just I will repeat this again. So here we have this is something called a schema. This is what is schema, and this quickly we'll discuss. But as of now, the layman term, schema is a sub database within a HANA database. Means what? HANA cannot be only connected. It's not like that it is only connected to ABAP. In your distributed landscape of your customer, maybe some part is running on ABAP, some part is running on BW, some part is running on non-SAP softwares and all. But every central business have one database. Let's say in that case, this is HANA. So in HANA, let's say people from another non-SAP system, they are creating some table. You are from ABAP, you are creating some table. So where this table will get saved. So every application layer will have unique schema, and this is nothing but called a schema. A schema nothing but it is a data dictionary which contains tables and all. So here you can see multiple schemas are there. Okay, if I'll open, let's say this is schema and this is schema. So every schema will have something called table, something called view, something called procedure, something called function. So all have same structure. So now if I want to see, this is my S4 HANA system, this is KNA1 table. So this ABAP system is connected to which schema. So I can go to the status and I can see what is the schema name. So schema name is SAP HANA DB, you can see. It means what? This KNA table will be available in SAP HANA DB only. So let me go here and try to expand this table. Okay. So there is no KNA1 table. Okay. So from ABAP layer, we got to know that the schema called SAP HANA DB. This is a schema, means any table which you are able to access in ABAP, any table you're creating from ABAP, everything will get saved in this location in the HANA database. So again, you can find it out, system and status. So from here, I got to know that this is the schema which is connected, and this will be done by your basis team. This configuration schema will be done by your basis team while creating a connection for HANA. So there's something called DBA cockpit, database administrator cockpit. Using this particular T code, basis team can connect your ABAP system to your HANA database. Okay, so you can see here, connect to the database. You can go and you can add the database. So let's say they have added already one entry here. I can double click and I can get to know what database they have added. So here they have added this host name which we have just given. This is the database name and all, they have given it here, and they have to give the schema. This is mandatory to add any database to the ABAP layer. So here they will do. Okay, so this schema has to be created in available in your HANA database. So how to create a schema? This will do in hands-on. All right. So we have just seen this table KNA1. How many entries are there? And this is which client I have logged in. I have logged into client 800. Okay. So now for this client, how many data is there? 12 entry. Let's go to the HANA database, expand this, and it will have huge list of table. Look, let me delete this filter here first. Okay. So by default, if you expand this table, all tables ABAP layer will come here. Okay. Better you apply filter to find out your table. So click on filter and just give KNA1. So it will try to find all the table name which starts with KNA1. So here, this is the table. So in ABAP side, when you created this table, if I'll just quickly go one step back. So when you created this table, you have given the data type as ABAP data type. But database always supports SQL data type. Okay. So the moment you activate your table in ABAP, automatically system will convert your ABAP data type to SQL data type. You no need to worry. You just give your ABAP data type. Accordingly, automatically system will read. For there's nothing called char in HANA. In HANA, it is called as ANVAR char. So automatically it will convert. We'll discuss what is char and ANVAR char, because you have to create table in SAP HANA. So there we'll get to know about the SQL data type. So here the table you created with ABAP data type, but now in HANA side, if I double click on this KNA1 table, already it's open. So you can see Kunnar, Land1, these are the field of KNA1, and these are the SQL data type, but length will be remain same. Okay. So HANA, so any database will support your SQL data type only. So here, when we executed, how many entry was there? So we have 12 entries. Okay. Similarly, if I'll just right click on this and go for a data preview. So there are how many entry? There are 104 entry. But in here you can see database are not client dependent, but ABAP is your client dependent. So we are in the client 800 in ABAP. So if I will show it again. So we are in client 800. So now what you do, you come to there's something called filter. Click on add filter. Click on mandate. And if you click here, this three dot, this icon, this is a value help. So these are the client data stored in particular this table. So I want to filter for my ABAP 2020, which is client 800, which I logged in. So I can click on OK, and I can see. Yeah, now I have to hit enter here. Or you can click on execute also. Okay. So now you can see for client 800 for KNA1 table, how many entries we are getting it here. So okay, my mistake. I'm showing 1909, right? So I should have logged into the 1909. So I logged into 2020. Let me log into 1909. Yeah. But I know that because I worked in the systems a couple of times, so I know that these systems are connected to the 1909. Okay, so it has same. If I'll go here, welcome 123, and now I will go to C11, and I will type KNA1 display execute number of entry. So 70. This client 800 contains 70. Similarly, in the database side, if I'll go here. Similarly, if I'll go to the database side here, so how many rows? 70. You can see, right? 70. So this is the place where your data gets stored into the HANA database under a schema. So what is the schema? How to create it? What is this catalog folder? Everything we are going to discuss in detail in our coming session. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to just you will be getting your email access to your respective email ID. Just make use play with HANA Studio, open HANA Studio and just add this system. Okay, you will be getting this schema details and all to add this database details to add in your with your respective login. So you just make your system ready so that in next session we can start the hands-on part. Okay, so I will be taking your email ID from my team, and then I'm going to share this Google Drive document and course content, everything I will be uploading over there and this slide. Okay, so yeah, so for next development your system requires, so that is the reason I'm not going for the for this further hands-on, so that at least may prepare the system, and then we'll have extensive this intensive session on the hands-on part of for the HANA development side. Yeah, so that's all from my side for today, and yeah, so let me know if you have any question, any doubt. Anyone? Okay. All right, then if no questions are there, then what we'll do, we'll connect in the next session, and then we'll start completely hands-on. Yeah, so by that time you'll be having your system ready so that we can start. Yeah, so thanks everyone for attending the session. See you in the next session. Yeah, bye bye.